In the last video, we learnt about the Haryanka dynasty. Now, from this video, we will learn about the Shishunaga dynasty. So, Shishunaga dynasty came after the Haryanka dynasty and it ruled from 413 BCE to 345 BCE. Now, there were rulers in Shishunaga dynasty, but most of them did not do any specific work or any exceptional work. So we will not list them here. We will look at them in another video. We add them the details about them because they were not very exceptional or very important rulers in the history of India. After that came the Nanda dynasty. It ruled from 345 to 321 BCE. The last ruler was Dhanananda. So Dhanananda was Chanakya, who was a very one of the most respected priests and learned man of that time, enlightened man of that time, went to Magad Empire and he was disrespected by Dhanananda. So he took an oath, or he took he thought in his mind that one day he will destroy this Nanda Empire, and he did this with the help of Chandragupta Maurya. That is, he helped Chandragupta Maurya in defeating Dhanananda, who was the last ruler of Nanda dynasty, and he was defeated by Chandragupta Maurya with the help of Chanakya, or he was also known as Kautilya. So the Nanda dynasty ruled from 345 to 321 BC, and the Dhanananda, who was the last ruler, ruled from 329 to 321 BC. After that came the Mauryan dynasty. This is a very important dynasty from the historical perspective of India, as Indian subcontinent reached the zenith of its powers in every aspect, in every sector, and every sector of life in this Mauryan Empire, because it united a large part of the country, that is it united a large part of the Indian subcontinent. This was seen first time, as earlier there were many chieftains or governors ruling on different parts of Indian subcontinent, and it was divisive in character, and they fought wars among themselves. So there was no peace and social security. But Mauryan Empire provided political unity, administrative unity, financial unity, as well as social security. So agri and iron tools were developed in Mauryan Empire. It was developed earlier also in the later Vedic age, but it reached its zenith during the Mauryan Empire, and the trade and arts and crafts expanded. There was internal trade as well as external trade during the Mauryan Empire. So the economy flourished during the Mauryan Empire. And the first ruler of Mauryan Empire was Chandragupta Maurya, who defeated Dhanananda. He ruled from 321 to 299 BC. Mauryan Empire under Chandragupta Maurya expanded till the borders of Persia. Expanded he expanded his empire to Balochistan, Kandahar, Gandhar, Afghanistan, and up to Turkmenistan. So this was the extent of Indian Empire at that time, between 321 to 299 BCE. In 326 BCE, Alexander invaded India. After choosing India, after choosing India, he advanced towards Taxila. He challenged Porus, ruler of kingdom between Jhelum and Chenab. So Porus was the uh, ruler after crossing Indus River. Alexander invaded India in 326 BC. After crossing the Indus River, he challenged Porus, who was the ruler of the territory between Jhelum and Chenab River. So he challenged Porus, and ruler of the kingdom between Jhelum and Chenab River, and Porus was defeated. But he allowed Porus to continue to govern his territory, as he was very much impressed by Porus' valor and his army, who fought bravely. So he allowed Porus to continue to govern his territory under the name of Alexander, under his name. Or he told Porus to govern his territory, and Porus accepted the hegemony of Alexander. Now we'll move on to the next page. So at that time Dhanananda was the ruler of Magad, which extended from Bengal in east, Punjab in west till the Vindhya range in south. So at the time of Nanda dynasty and Dhanananda, who was the last ruler, the Indian subcontinent extended from Bengal in east to Punjab in west, and in south it extended till Vindhya range. But in case of Mauryan Empire, it expanded very extensively and reached till Kaveri River, and till Turkmenistan, Kandahar, Gandhar, Afghanistan, Pakistan all came under Mauryan Empire, and also Bangladesh and Assam, all these came under Mauryan Empire. So he expanded extensively, Chandragupta Maurya. Now we'll look at the further what happened. So King Porus fought against Alexander in Battle of Daspis. Porus was defeated, but the morale of Alexander's army was at an all-time low due to the bloody battle, so he decided to turn back. So King Porus fought against Alexander, and Alexander won, but the morale of the army was very low because of the bloody battle, and so they decided to turn back because they were not ready to fight other battles with other armies, and they were not in that condition because a lot of damage had been caused due to the war between Porus and Alexander to Alexander's army also. And during return in 323 BC, Alexander died in Babylon due to bad health, and Seleucus Nicator, who was the successor of Alexander, he succeeded Alexander. So in 321 BC, Chandragupta Maurya became the ruler of Magad, as we all know. His empire expanded till borders of Persia. So in 306 BC, Seleucus Nicator decided to conquer the Indian subcontinent, which his predecessor, that Alexander, could not do. But the Indian subcontinent was not like how it was 20 years ago. It was unified to a great extent under the Mauryan Empire. So Seleucus Nicator decided to conquer the Indian subcontinent in 306 BC. So in history, India was invaded mostly from northwest direction. North and in the north and northeastern direction there were the Himalayas are present, and in south there is water. So mostly from northwest direction India was invaded in history. So Chandragupta Maurya decided to expand his territory to Persia to stop this invasion. But Seleucus Nicator uh, was in 306 BC, he was confident that he will conquer Indian subcontinent. So a war took place between the armies of Seleucus Nicator and Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya defeated Seleucus Nicator and married his daughter so that the Greeks don't think about invading India. So he married his daughter, and there was an alliance between the Greeks and Chandragupta Maurya. After the death of Chandragupta Maurya in 299 BC, the next king was Bindusara. He became the king. So why was he named Bindusara? Because Bindusara's mother, that is Chandragupta Maurya's wife, was Chanakya used to give few drops of poison, very little amount of poison to Chandragupta Maurya, so that his body became resistant to poison, and he was, if someone tried to poison him, and form and tried to poison him or kill him, so he will be saved because his body will be resistant to poison. And they also maintained a very good system of spies, definite system of spies who spied other empires and gave the information to the Chandragupta Maurya as well as Chanakya, so that they were able to defeat the other empires. They also depended on Vish Kanyas, who were from childhood given poison in a very low amount, so their bodies became resistant to this poison, and again they were used to defeat other empires by trapping the kings or the important men of other empires. So due to this, Chanakya gave Chandragupta Maurya some amount of poison, very little amount every day, so that his body became resistant to the poison. But one day, Chandragupta Maurya's wife uh, ate that food, and some and one drop of poison also fell on Bindusara's forehead. So that is why he was named Bindusara, and Chandragupta Maurya's wife died in that event. So after that, Bindusara became the king. He was a very young king, only 20 years old or 22 years old. So he ruled from 299 to 273 BC when he became the king. After Bindusara, Ashoka became the king. Ashoka is one of the greatest emperors of India. He is also known as Ashoka the Great. He ruled from 273 to 232 BC. He is considered as one of India's greatest emperor. He expanded the Mauryan Empire from present-day Afghanistan in the west to Bangladesh in the east. So he expanded the empire further. It covered the entire Indian subcontinent except for parts of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala. So some parts of southern India were left, that is Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala, and other than that, the whole Indian subcontinent was the Mauryan Empire. So empire's capital was Patliputra, with provincial's capital at Taxila and Ujjain. So these were the provincial capitals, Taxila and Ujjain. He popularly remembered for his destructive war against Kalinga. Ashoka is popularly remembered against his destructive war against Kalinga, which was a bloody battle and a lot of bloodshed happened. Ultimately, Ashoka won the battle, but it affected his morality as well as his attitude, his morality, and his ethics in his further life. So after that battle, it was a very destructive battle at Kalinga. Kalinga is in present day Odisha. This war is known for its massive bloodshed, which he conquered in 260 BCE. So he conquered Kalinga in 260 BCE. After the war, he converted to Buddhism because he was not able to take any more bloodshed, or he was not morally fit to kill any more persons, or and he was a very ruthless king, but after this war he was not able to. He adopted Buddhism as religion, and he became an ascetic. He adopted Buddhism as his religion, and he was not able to kill any person or plant or animal also. So he became a follower of Buddhism and a follower of truth and non-violence, and the follower of Eightfold Path, which was given by Buddha. And he also renounced his desires. So, as in Buddhism, as we all know, as Buddha told that the need for what you can't have is called greed. The need for what is readily available is called desire, and desire is the cause of all sorrows. So, if desire is removed from a human being's mind, then all sorrows in this world will end. This is what Buddha told people. So, Ashoka started following this path, and he also gave the eightfold path, that is right understanding, right action, right right action, right thinking, and all right knowledge. There are these are the eightfold paths of Buddhism. I don't remember exactly what are all the eightfold paths. You can look at it, but and comment on it. But I can say that these are right understanding, right action, right knowledge. All these are eightfold, come under the eightfold paths of Buddhism, which was given by Buddha for morally and as well as valuable life lessons. So after the Kalinga War, he converted to Buddhism. Is remembered for the Asokan pillar and edicts and writing on it. He also built stupas, monasteries, and other religious structures at many sites such as Sarnath. He built structures at many sites such as Sarnath, and he sent Buddhist monks to Sri Lanka as well as Central Asia and Southeast Asia. After Ashoka, there were few other rulers who continued Mauryan dynasty till 185 BC, but they were not so powerful rulers. So Ashoka tried to spread Buddhism also through building stupas and monasteries and Asokan edicts and pillars. And Ashoka's palace was at Kumrahar. It was a very beautiful palace, and some of the remains also are at Kumrahar till now. So this was all about the Mauryan Empire. Now the next empire was Gupta Empire. So Gupta Empire started from 240 AD and continued till 605 AD. The first ruler was Sri Gupta, who was the founder of Gupta Empire. He ruled from 240 AD to late 3rd century AD and till late 3rd century AD. And most notable rulers are Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, and Chandragupta II or Vikramaditya. Chandragupta I ruled from 320 AD to 325 AD. Samudragupta ruled from 325 AD to 375 AD, and Chandragupta II or Vikramaditya ruled from 375 AD to 415 AD. So Gupta Empire continued unifying large areas of Indian subcontinent. India's art and science flourished under Gupta rule, and Gupta Empire also considered as the golden is also considered as a golden age in Indian history, as it witnessed massive inventions and discoveries in science, technology, engineering, art, dialectics, literature, logic, mathematics, religion, and astronomy. So all these were discoveries which were done during the Gupta period, inventions and discoveries. It is known as the golden age in Indian history. Now Chandragupta II, which was the second ruler, as we can see here, Chandragupta II, which was the which was the third ruler, or Vikramaditya. First one was Sri Gupta who founded. Second one was Chandragupta I. Third one was Samudragupta, and as you can see here, I will zoom in, and fourth one was Chandragupta II or Vikramaditya. These were the important rulers. So Chandragupta II or Vikramaditya was known for his deep interest in art and culture and had nine scholars in his court called Navratna. So Chandragupta II had Navratna in his court. These are very famous nine people, nine scholars, and are very respected in Indian ancient history. First one was Harisena, second one was Kalidas, then Amar Simha, Dhanvantari, Kaha, Kahapanaka, then Sanki, then Varahmihir, Vararuchi, Vararuchi, and Vetal Bhatta. These were the nine scholars in his court. During his rule, Fahian, that is the Chinese pilgrim, Buddhist pilgrim, or you can see Chinese Buddhist monk, came to India in between 399 to 412 AD to acquire Buddhist texts, and he also wrote about the Gupta Empire in his books. He was a very famous Buddhist monk when we consider Indian history. And Gupta era starts to decline, India starts to fragment. As Gupta era started to decline, India again started to fragment, and medieval period of India begins. So as Gupta era started to decline, India again started to fragment, and the governors and chieftains of different uh, regions or territories started to fragment from the Gupta Empire. So numerous small Hindu kingdoms started appearing after 600 AD. Empire started declining. Gupta Empire started declining under the son of that Vikramaditya Chandragupta II, that is his son Kumaragupta and his grandson Skandagupta. Kumaragupta ruled from 415 to 455 AD, and Skandagupta ruled from 455 to 467 AD. So all this is all about all the empires that ruled India. In the next video we'll look at the further ancient history part. So till now this is all about the Shishunaga dynasty, the Nanda dynasty, the Mauryan dynasty, and the Gupta dynasty.